Folks, sometimes it's true when they say a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I'll tell you what I mean and then get into the latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending July the 5th, 2023. About 6 weeks ago, we put in an offer for our buyer client. We put in an offer on a property. We negotiated back and forth. We were within $20,000 of what my client, the buyer, was willing to pay and what the seller was prepared to accept. $20,000. We couldn't put it together, so we walked away. There's no deal there. We ended up purchasing another property for our buyer client. The seller didn't sell. They did receive other offers. I get the updates of when properties that we've seen receive offers. They received other offers along the way, but 6 weeks passed and it didn't sell. And just a few days ago, they did a price reduction on that property of $40,000. So they didn't accept our offer. We were only $20,000 apart, and now 6 weeks later, they've reduced their price by $40,000. This is not an isolated situation. We see this often where you can't put the deal together, you're close, one of the parties is holding out, and then later on, the property sits, and the price reduction is far greater than that amount of money that they were negotiating. You know, not that long ago, the negative of this would fall onto the buyer's shoulders, because if they didn't end up buying at that price, it was costing them more later as prices were on the incline. Right now the market is softening, so that price gap of between offers, if it doesn't get accepted, there's a good chance the seller is the one who's going to be paying that difference, because in most cases we see if a property sits, a reduction in price is often greater than that price difference that they were negotiating with. Just something to keep in mind. Sometimes what you have in front, even though it's not your exact price, it could be less than any kind of price reduction later. If you feel this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about here, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Let's get into the numbers. You're looking for a luxurious multifamily home? Check out the video at the end of this video. Sellers, I understand you want your price and sometimes you just don't want to budge, but prices are not headed in your favor right now. Let's take a look here. Here's a quick summary. Condos, semis in towns, detached. Look at prices here coming way down for detached properties. Let's take a closer look. I have here the City of Toronto for week ending July the 5th, 2023. Sales took a massive drop. Now, prices also have taken a massive drop, but we've got to ask, over this July 5th, we had the long weekend. Is it because of the long weekend? Is it because of the previous, just a few weeks ago, interest rate hike? Is it because of the anticipated hike coming up during the course of this week? Hard to say what it is, but we can see the results. We can see the effect of what's going on in the buyers' minds right now. Sales way down. The amount of property selling at $2 million or more, way down, almost half of what it was the previous week. As a result, average sold price way down to $1,614,000. If we go back to the most recent peak, not the peak of last year, which was over 2 million, but the most recent peak of 1.9 million, we're down a little over 300,000 since what's that? The end of May. That's a huge, huge price or adjustment in average sold prices across the city of Toronto. Now remember, this is just for detached properties and only the city of Toronto. Let's take a closer look here. Compared to last year, 1,614,000 is 6% higher than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price of 1,350,000 is 3% higher than where we were a year ago. And it's pretty clear. And I'm looking at the dotted line right now. It's a 4-week moving average. Even if I don't look at the dotted line and I look at the average and the median, everything points to prices over the last couple of months trending downwards. 117 were sold, little over half, 54% sold at list price or more. So that number is much lower than what we've seen over the last 3 months. 288 were listed. Look at active listings, 1,339 active listings. These are properties that as of midnight, the week ending, so in this case, July 5th, that's how many detached properties are actually available for sale. And that number has been climbing. So with sales down, active listings climbing, look what happened to months of inventory. Shot way up to 2.6. Now, it has been trending up. And I got to say, the long weekend, any kind of holiday, any kind of long weekend skews the numbers a bit, messes things up a little bit. So I'm really curious to see what happens the following week. But this week we have a potential rate hike coming up. There's going to be an announcement. Let's see what the Bank of Canada does. But this is based on the sales for the week, and it's projected. If those are the sales, and this is what the sales are going to be from now on, how long will it take us to buy up all the inventory that's currently available? So currently the active listings, well, sales were so low. That's why months of inventory is shot way up. And you're going to see this across the board. Well, that's for the city of Toronto. Let's take a look at all of Toronto. We've broken Toronto up into 9 different areas. Now, these 2 areas here, Scarborough and East York, they account for over about 45% of all the city of Toronto sales. Here's the summary of Toronto. Months of inventory sitting at 2.6. There's really only just very few areas actually below the 2.6 mark. Scarborough sitting at 1.6. East York, Riverdale Beaches area sitting at 1.6 months of inventory. We've got High Park, Yorkdale sitting at 2%, but then you have 5.1 over here at Willowdale, Bayview. York Mills, Rosedale, 6.9%. Actually, across the city of Toronto, months of inventory in the regions range from 6.9, the high, down to 1.6 as the low for months of inventory. And the reason I point that out, depending on where you are, what you're doing, whether you're selling, whether you're buying, some people have choices. I could buy here, I could buy there. You're going to have different experiences. In some neighborhoods, it's going to feel like almost every property is listed with an offer date. And in other neighborhoods, it's going to feel that very few properties are listed with an offer date. And you as a seller, knowing this, you can pick what kind of strategy makes sense for you. But keep in mind, things are not really headed in the seller's favor right now. So the sellers, you can't be as aggressive as you were before, unless that's what's happening in your neighborhood. Here's a quick look at semis. Sales way down, about half of what they were the previous week. 33 semi-detaches were sold. 6 of those were at $1.5 million or more, and that's way down from the previous week of 16. Average sold price way down to $1,217,000. 1217 is 3% lower than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price of $1,151,000 is also 3% lower than where we were a year ago. And if you look at the dotted line here, the 4-week moving average, it's kind of tough to see what's happening, but it really, especially the medium price, looks like we're trending down when it comes to prices for semis. Months of inventory shot way up to 1.9 months of inventory. 82% of the semis that sold at list price or more. So still very competitive. Townhouses, only 10. I put a question mark there, like what's going on with freehold townhouses? Only 10 were sold. 2 of those were at 1.5 million or more. Average sold price went up from the previous week, sitting at 1,260,000. Generally speaking, sales are quite low for freehold townhouses, no matter when we're looking at it. And that's why you get these huge peaks and valleys. Now, the dotted line could help kind of spot a trend, could smoothen it out. But still, it looks like prices are trending down. 1,260,000 is 8% lower than where we were this time last year for average sold price, and the median price is 2% lower than where we were this time last year. Months of inventory shot way up to 2.7 months of inventory, and less than half of those semis, 40%, sold at list price or more. Here's condos. Keeping up with the theme of sales dropping, 176 condos were sold. The previous week was 265. The week before that was 283. So sales have been trending down regardless of the long weekend or not. 176 were sold for week ending July the 5th. 21 of those were at $1 million or more, and that's way down from previous weeks. Average sold price went up a little bit, 768,000. 768 is 3% higher than where we were a year ago. Median price is 1% lower than where we were a year ago. And although very slightly average sold price is trending down for condos, it would be pretty safe to say if you're hanging out with your buddies and people are talking real estate, as often happens across the GTA, you could say that condos have averaged in price over the last 3 months somewhere between 750 to 800,000, and that would be really an accurate statement because there's very few times that the average price went outside of those parameters, 750 to 800,000. 176 we said were sold. That's been trending down. 44% of those sold at list price or more. Listings, 654 were listed. Look at active listing. It has been trending up. However, come the beginning of June, it started going up more aggressively. So more and more condos have been sitting unsold. That with listings were slightly getting a bit higher, but now we have 3,085 condos unsold at the end of July 5th. Months of inventory shot up to 4. We were approaching a balanced market, but now we're slap dab in the middle of, did I say that or I slap dab? I'm not sure what I'm saying there, but we're right in the middle of a balanced market. Between 3 months and 5 months of inventory is a balanced market. Here's a quick summary. Condos are in balanced market territory. The others, detached towns, they're approaching, but towns and detached are right there. In a lot of neighborhoods, it's going to feel like you are in a balanced market. And, balanced market is probably the best market we could be in. It's kind of fair to both sides. Although prices seem to be trending down, they're not. Once we're in a balanced market and truly in a balanced market, you're going to see prices kind of leveling off. They'll go down, they'll go up, they'll go down. In a buyer's market, they'd be dropping. We're not there yet, although they are coming down because we're on such a high. This is going to be a really interesting week, and the next couple of weeks is also going to be super, super interesting. Are we going to get the rate hike? A lot of people think so, but we're also in a seasonal slowdown period You combine that with interest rates, there's a lot going on all at the same time, putting downward pressure on prices. Check out the video now of the luxury multi-family home. Thanks for watching. Welcome to 4027 Bloor Street West in Etobicoke. Before I show you the inside of this home, let me tell you what makes it so unique. It has, in all, 8 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. It has 9-foot and 10-foot ceilings. Each room has its own individual climate control. These are all luxury features you would expect from a custom-built home. But what really stands out in this home is that it was designed from the very beginning for 2 families to live separate and independent of each other, both above grade. Let me start by showing you the principal residence. So this is the principal residence. Including the finished basement, you have 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, about 3,000 square feet. So here's the finished basement. It has 10-foot ceilings, an entertainment area, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a private walk-up to the backyard. So this is the private, self-contained, luxurious secondary suite with 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Have a look.